From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings, LALATE, with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. As the Federal Reserve tries to battle that inflation that may be doing it the wrong way, we'll be looking at that situation for that SS300 in today's recording. But first, we're going to start with the incredible great news as three major checks have landed. They include fourth stimulus checks. A fourth stimulus check of $6,500 has now become law, and Joe Biden has sent it out, and viewers have gotten it. I'll show you how to get it in tonight's recording. It's check A. Then check B, a $15,000 to $80,000 fourth stimulus check has become law, made law by executive action March 4th. Have you gotten it? I'll show you how to get it in tonight's recording. Then an MSC monthly stimulus check has gone out, and viewers have gotten it monthly, about $2,000 a month. We'll go over each of these A, B, and C checks across this recording. In this next 1 hour broadcast, we're going to go over why members who have become members have gotten so much money. But we're going to start with the Build Back Better Act that needs to get done, because guess what? The U.S. GDP could be shrinking as we head into a potential recession. What does this mean for your money? And we'll have the latest details across the board. Then we'll be looking at what the Federal Reserve is doing with that SS300. Because guess what? That inflation is at issue. And the J. Powell moves may be too aggressive. Could be sending us potentially in recession. Now the latest details tonight on that front as well. Then we'll be looking at what's going on then with that seventh stimulus. Yes, third, fourth, and seventh are definitely happening at the same time as well. And major breaking news tonight for April 19th, 2022, as more student loan debts have been forgiven. We'll be looking at what's going on with that sixth stimulus that impacts your wallet, caused by Vladimir Putin to battle recessionary pressures. We have a lot of that breaking news tonight as the price of gasoline surges out of control again, and then the price of wheat and grain surging out of control as well. Then we'll be looking at what comes up next. A lot of analysts are talking about the midterm elections and stimulus. And guess who's also talking about it? The White House. All that analysis in today's recording as well. Over the next 1 hour broadcast, we got a lot going over. A lot of money, a lot of checks, a lot of breaking news, and a lot of economic news, plus a preview of what's going on later this week. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's an exciting night because major checks have landed. I'll show you how to get these huge sums of money. It's evenings, and it starts right now. And good evening, everybody. For April 19th, 2020, major breaking developing details tonight as three major checks have landed. I'm going to go over all those incredible, huge checks tonight across the board. 2 fourth stimulus checks and MSC checks. And we're just getting started because Build Back Better Act is on the horizon thereafter. We have huge sums of money to go over in tonight's recording. And the great news is that these checks are law. We'll be looking at check A, check B, and check C across this incredible recording. If you're a member, congratulations. If you're not, become a member right tonight, because those are the people who are getting these huge sums of checks, and you deserve every single pot of these money. We're going to go over all these incredible checks across this entire recording tonight. But first, we're going to start with the major developing details about the Build Back Better Act, that fourth stimulus recon that's currently sitting in the Senate, and what's going on with that. The first stimulus recon is a Build Back Better Act. It has a House and Senate vote. The House has passed it. The Senate is sitting on it, but is likely to call the vote by the end of this month, new analysts now say. What is in the Build Back Better Act? Well, we have major breaking developing details tonight across the board on that front. $15,000 to $80,000 of checks, 3 clusters, and 3 add-ons. What are in the clusters? Let's look at them right now. In that first cluster, we have hazard pay. Wow, 1 more year, the earned income tax credit for my essential workers. Did you get that essential worker money in that 2023, 2021 tax return you just filed? I hope you did. It was third stimulus. They're broadening it under fourth stimulus. Then $3,600 for the CTC. Children's checks, $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, $550 check for my college students, And then nutrition plus home repairs. Wow, we're ready to rock and roll. The first of 3 add-ons and checks of the Build Back Better Act is a little bit less than $25,000 given to the seller in your name at the time of escrow by the federal government. Yes, this is money for the purchase of your first home. At the time of escrow, the federal government get a little bit less than $25,000. This is the first add-on in the Build Back Better Act passed by the House, currently in the Senate. Let's look then at the second cluster of checks. Home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave is a lot of money. How much is it? It's a fortune. It's about $46,000 a year. W-2 1099, you get it. How much? If you make $70,000 or more per year, it's $1,700 a week. $35,800 a week. $15,400 a week. W-2 1099, you get it. And if you don't work but your son or daughter does work, they'll get the check on behalf of the entire household. There you go. Now let's go to that second item in the second cluster of checks. And that second item is home repairs to weatherize your home. Hold up. Pens up. Exam's over. No, the exam is not over. Just a big, huge, great news surprise. It's law. The President of the United States took that home repairs to weatherize your home out of the Build Back Better Act. Now, if you're watching something else somewhere else tonight, you're potentially just watching the Kardashians. And you're not getting any information about any of these checks. This is what I do. I get people big sums of money. I've gotten people over $35 million since this channel launched, April 25th, 2020, as we approach our 2-year anniversary. But this check was not announced much at all by the President of the United States. In fact, it was buried in a news conference. That's law. It's check A. Oh boy. $6,500 weatherizing grant check in the Build Back Better Act taken out by Joe Biden made it law. He also took out a $50,000 to $80,000 check from Fort Simmons Recon, made it law March 4th. How do you get those checks? They're coming up in a second. I'll explain to you how to get those checks in just a second as we turn to those 3 exciting checks. But let's go back into the Build Back Better Act. We are currently at that second cluster. Paid leave is staying in there. Let's go to the second add-on checks. $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Got it in there. It's huge. Then we go to that third cluster, checks, biggie. We have checks for free internet for all, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and then seniors checks. Getting in there, dental, vision, hearing, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55, the Medicaid gap fix, providing a workaround plan in those 12 Republican holdout states to ensure you have coverage, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to the Build Back Better Act. The other checks they represent, they would add in there are cluster add-on number 3, MSC. MSC, baby. How do they represent that? What happened? They represent it's a monthly IRS sent out stimulus check that would be added to the Build Back Better bill currently in the Senate that would pay out the same as a third stimulus check. Let's recap. Third stimulus checks are paid out to single individuals, $75,000 or less. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Double it. Family of 4, you quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, you get it as well. It's not income. It's not taxable. It goes all on a nationwide basis, not on a state-by-state basis. Goes off of the most recent tax return, so if that tax return had direct deposit, that's how you get it. Otherwise, in the mail. And then how much? Oh my, it's $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter is what the legislators represent they would add in there. Up to 6 months, that's $7,000 total. Now let's compare that to the shocker, which is what the viewership of this channel had gotten and continue to get. It's third stimulus MSC checks. Boy, these are bulked up. These are bigger and bulked up than the 4 stimulus MSC checks. Let's look at check C, the bulked up MSC. Oh, yes. A little bit less than $24,000 for some viewers, but upwards of $150,000. It's huge. How do you get check C, that MSC check? It's coming up in a second. If you haven't become a member right tonight. Now, that's the Build Back Better Act. Many insiders believe that the vote will be called in the next 30 days. I'll have more about that in just a second. But before we go over the economic data that impacts the Build Back Better Act, let's go over the situation unfolding tonight about SS 300. This is where it gets really fascinating. What is SS 300 and what is the economic data impacting it tonight? SS 300 is the campaign platform and the presidential platform by Joseph Biden to raise your benefits up with a new benchmark. What's at issue? Joe said at JoeBiden.com, his presidential platform, that he's going to replace COLA with inflation. Wow. COLA is your benchmark that determines your lift every December. But inflation is much hotter. How much hotter? Well, if it was 8% right today, that would raise your benefits up $200 more per month. Not just this day, not just this year, not just this month, but this lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. Then let's say that inflation tracks at 4% by the end of the year. That will raise your benefits up another $100. That's SS300. So obviously the question is, what is the inflation rate tonight? And what will be the inflation rate when Joe Biden make that swap? To make the swap from COLA to inflation is just a simple phone call. Joe made the call. Hashtag Joe made the call. Make that call that Social Security Administrator had to swap your COLA for inflation as your benchmark. And that would lock in the inflation rate at the time at which the phone call is made. So what is the inflation rate tonight? What will be the inflation rate in late April if he makes the phone call then? And what is the inflation rate going to be in May? Let's go over the analysis tonight. And if there's anyone in the United States, as this channel approaches a 2-year anniversary, who has gotten inflation really, really correct, it has been me. Last summer, I started recording what we call FIS stimulus, seniors benefits. And in recording FIS stimulus last summer, I said inflation was track at 8% December 2021. 8% was my inflationary projection. And I said it was going to not be temporary transitory. Guess what happened? Came in at 8% in December. Then January predicted 8%. It was 8%. February is 8% as predicted. I predicted in March that the inflation rate may actually be higher. Was I correct? Last week we learned that I was correct, but the Consumer Price Index number was released that gives us a gauge of inflation year to date and inflation month to month. Comparing February to March, what do we see? Was I right? I was, again. Inflation did track higher between the month of February 2022 and the month of March, meaning that if Joe Biden made that swap from COLA to inflation right tonight, you're good. You're likely at still 8%. That's $200 more per month, not just this month, a lifetime. What about in December? Are we still good at that 4% inflation, $100 more per month? Well, Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, he's saying he's getting inflation down to 1.9% by the end of the year. And that's not an additional $100, that's an additional $4 or something like that. Is he going to get it down there? Nope, I don't think he is. So let's go over the analysis right tonight and let's get a preview of what's coming up this month. To battle inflation, the rising costs of goods, and energy, and oil, there's a guy whose name is Jay Powell. He's head of the Federal Reserve, and his job is to deal with inflation. That's what his job involves, as well as monetary policy. This is Jay Powell. The way he battles inflation is by raising U.S. interest rates. By raising those U.S. interest rates, he has two choices: a half basis point per month or a quarter basis point. A quarter is weaker, a half is stronger. In the month of February, he said in the month of March he's going to do a quarter. He did. Then days later, he said, wasn't strong enough. I needed to do something more. I'm predicting that in the month of April, he will do a half. And then in the month of May, he will also do a half basis point increase for that interest rate. What does that do for inflation? I don't think it's going to work. Yes. We have all these Fed governors under Jay Powell who talk like Boulard, and Daly says, you know what? We're going to do all these interest rate spikes of half basis point for 6 meetings over 6 months. We're going to get that inflation down. I got to tell you, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Because guess what? There's actually a go insane on Wall Street. It says that Fed governors like to talk down inflation. Talk it down by saying, I can get it down. They can't. They can't. Why not? Because inflation tonight is being caused by 3 major issues that the federal governor and his governors do not have tools to fix. Supply chain disruption in the United States, supply chain disruption caused by Vladimir Putin, and supply chain disruption caused by the subvariant of Omicron now causing lockdowns in China. Those 3 parts of the equation, Jay Powell has no tools to fix inflation. And with that at issue, what means is that if Joe Biden makes that swap from COLA to inflation right tonight, you'd lock in $200 more per month, this year, this generation. Then what about later this year? I don't think he's getting down to 1.9%. I think it's going to go to 4%. That's an additional $100 on top of that. That's huge. Now, what else do we have at issue? When we're looking at the numbers that Jay Powell has and also the numbers that Congress has, The economy tonight is stalling up. It's absolutely stalling up. And that is why analysts believe that the Build Back Better Act bill will get passed this month. They believe the vote's going to be called for a series of reasons, and I have my analysis on this subject right now. Number one, they believe the Build Back Better bill is going to be voted on and passed because, one, the U.S. economy is absolutely stalling up. If you're watching this channel when it launched in 2020, we had the Republicans, like Mitch McConnell, saying the economy is wonderful, vote Republican. And the Democrats saying the economy is horrible, vote Democrats. Now, we all knew the economy was horrible in 2020. We were in lockdown. Where are we tonight in 2022? We have both Republicans and Democrats agreeing the economy is stalling. It absolutely is stalling. So they're both doing things because they understand that the only way they're going to win the electorate is show they did something. There's a series of new reports out tonight for April 19, 2022 that says the White House has been told by its inside advisors to pivot off of Ukraine. While we do have sympathy for the people of Ukraine, to really pivot off Ukraine, because now American citizens are saying what you and I often say, where's the money for us? We got the point. Stop sending money for missiles in Ukraine, start sending money for us. This is as news that the White House is going on a new tour over the next few days to talk about the wonders of the infrastructure bill. Yawn. To talk about the wonders of the third stimulus package. Well, it is wonderful, and it does have that big money for those MSC checks, but other than that, that's 2021. Where is the new stimulus package? And that is why that vote is likely to get called. Number two, at issue is that the Republicans and Democrats are trying to show up to the electorate that they've done something. And viewers have often assessed this. Viewers on this channel have often said this, that as soon as we get close to the midterm elections, they're going to pass lots of stuff. Well, you saw over the last 7 days where Joe Biden passed no less than a half dozen executive orders. He did another one today, folks. He did another one today. He did 3 or plus last week for student loans. He did another one today for student loans. And then he did those 2 for stimulus checks last month. And I'm going to show you how to get them. $6,500 check for March 31st, 2022. A $15,000 to $80,000 check for March 4th became law. And then those MSC checks. We're going to go over each of those incredible checks and how to get them in the second half of this video. Then we'll be turning to the changing, developing details of that huge 6 stimulus package. Is Germany causing it to erode, or we just do it without Germany? The latest part of the equation tonight. Then we'll be looking at what's going on in China, as China is really causing major supply chain disruption, and that could cause more inflation at the same time as a recession. Unusual it is. We'll be looking at the breaking news about that student loan debt forgiveness. But the great news tonight, folks, is that my efforts and your efforts have worked. We pounced. In December 2020, when we were sitting around and we were thick of the pandemic, we needed money, there wasn't a lot out there. I searched high and low to find it for you. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance. I got viewers $250,000. They were ecstatic when I got it because there was no money coming out at the time. Guess where we are tonight in mid to late April? There is no other money landing this week from Build Back Better Act or anything else, except the money that the members and the viewers of this channel get in. There are 3 major checks. I'm going to go over those major checks and how you can really amp them up even more than before. Those 3 major checks that are landing tonight are absolutely incredible. Joe Biden has made them law. They have gone out. People have cashed them. I'm going to go over how you can get those big checks that are supersized, bulked up checks of the A, B, and C. They are a $6,500 weatherizing grant check that became law March 31st. How do you get that check? It's coming up at the commercial break. Then a $15,000 to $80,000 check became law March 4th. How do you get it? It's coming up after the commercial break. And then an MSC check of $22,000 a month over 12 months. You can get it. I'll show you how to get it after the commercial break. We're going to look at that supply chain disruption. What Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan Chase, said today about where this economy is going, what the Federal Reserve is doing and not doing. It's huge. It's a big second half of tonight's recording. Then we'll be looking at what's going on with that 6 stimulus. We'll have a little bit of the situation for that student loan debt forgiveness, as a major announcement came in late today, just minutes before I went on air. Those details coming up in the second half of this video. And then I got big surprises for you. Oh boy. I got my analysis of where we're going on this big money. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds, but first, here's a little bit about the community page as we go into the big second half of a special 1-hour broadcast. Get your pen and paper ready, because after the commercial break, we'll go over all those 3 checks you can get, plus new analysis you never heard before. Here's a little bit about the member community page. I'll see you back in 60 seconds. As Evenings LA goes into its big second half tonight, from the shores of Santa Monica, California, a lot of major breaking details you need to know. We're going to go over all the incredible money at issue. How do you get that money? And what's happening on the horizon? It's a big night with a lot of money. See you back in 60 seconds on Evenings.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now in the big half of Evenings LA for April 19th, 2022. We have breaking news tonight as 3 major checks have landed. 2 forced stimulus checks became law by the Joseph Biden administration. Important to become a member. If you haven't become a member right now. Top of the chat under the pinned comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. These forced stimulus checks are law. They have landed, and I'm going to show you how to get them. A $6,500 check, a $15,000 to $80,000 check, and an MSC check. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over the breaking news as more student loan debts, 4 million more debts, were forgiven today. Oh boy, that's on top of yesterday's number. The numbers are growing by the minute. Then we'll be looking at what's going on, all those interest rates, the mortgage rates, and why the housing industry is likely already in recession. Where will the rest of the economy be? Will the rest of the economy be in recession by the end of the year? I'll have the analysis tonight as well. Then we're going to go over to what's going on with that oil, that wheat, that grain, and your big money, that 6 stimulus. It's a huge second half of this recording. And the latest supply chain disruption, that latest supply chain disruption is, of course, China. That's coming up in the second half of this video. I'm excited you're here, and boy, we got a lot of money going on, and we're going to go to it right now. If you're new to this channel, let me tell you what I do. I deliver you the breaking news as America's most watched show for financial news in prime time, but I get you money. As this channel approaches its 2-year anniversary this week, April 25th, I do it better than anyone else. 25, 35, maybe even $55 million of money I've gotten viewers. How do I do it? I find when programs become law, how to get them, show you how to get the money. It's important that you pounce. That's the expression I created in early 2021 for Purple Hawks. The reason why it's called a Purple Hawk is I said you need to pounce like a hawk and get the money. Then became the membership, then became the expression Purple Hawks. Now, tonight the situation is very clear that you need to pounce because the money is there and it's absolutely incredible. So let's go to the 3 sums of money, and you can get arguably 1 to 3 of them. Across all the members of the viewership of this channel, you either a renter or a homeowner, so get ready because I got a check for all of you. Let's go over the big details tonight. Let's look at that check A, B, and C. Let's go over the overview first. The check A is a fixed $6,500 home weatherizing grant check, became law March 31st. The $15,000 to $80,000 check is a homeowner's grant check, became law March 4th. And the third check is an MSC, check C. Let's start with check A. Early in March, the President of the United States took that check out of the Build Back Better bill and made it law. It is a $6,500 to $12,000 check, and it's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. It was a forced stimulus check, now made law as a forced stimulus check by executive action. Understand the eligibility? It's so simple. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Just like a third stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. And if you're on benefits like Social Security or veterans benefits, you can get it as other people on benefits have gotten it. Then, what's the last qualification? That you own your home. This is called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. Now, do not worry about the terminology for home. Like, does my mobile home qualify? Just apply. It'll tell you whether or not you qualify. And don't worry about the word weatherizing, because weatherizing means things in different parts of the country. So don't worry whether the weatherizing is surfing in California or whether it's not surfing in Kansas. Just go and apply. So how do you apply and get this big sums of money? Let's go over the details right now. It's very simple. You go under the video's description or at the top of the chat or under the video where it says join, and you become a member. Then you get the incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. You would get it if you're a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP member. The newsletter is delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, delivered via the YouTube alert system. Go into the membership newsletter. The first few lines are the latest numbers tonight on oil, wheat, and grain. And then right under that, folks, oh boy, yes, is that check A. Gives you a description, yes, and then gives you the application link. You can do it with your phone. You can do it with your computer. You click the link and you go right in and apply, and you get moolah. Let's look at Check C. Very simpler. Also, forced stimulus check made law by Joe Biden, took it out by executive action, made it a law March 4th, and it is huge across the board. Let's look at Check B right now. $15,000 to $80,000 check. Wow. Forced stimulus check, yes, became a law by executive action. Oh my goodness. And then the income qualification, the same as Check A. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. This is called the Homeowners Grant Check. How do you get this check? You become a member, get that newsletter, look for that Check B, $15,000 to $80,000 in there. Learn about it because I go over more about what it pays for, like home repairs, like property taxes, and then click the link to apply. It'll send you to the national website that'll have a map like this. Then you click your respective state, like Oklahoma, and you pounce. You pounce like a Purple Hawk, and within 7 days of getting your application in and being told it's approved, you get funding. That is huge, and that is Check B. Now let's go to Check C. Check C is even better. Check C is a monthly stimulus check, but the history of this Check C is fascinating. This channel launched in April 25th, 2020, and late in December of that year of 2020, millions of Americans were waiting for the second stimulus to become law. It wasn't. So they needed money. That was my job, to get the money. So I found the ability to get them rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. I got them. There wasn't a lot of that money then. About $250,000 for all the viewers at the time of the channel. But in late December, I had a preview of a piece of legislation, really almost exclusive preview of a piece of legislation. And I coined the expression third stimulus. I said, this is going to a vote next year in early 2021. I'm going to call it third stimulus. If they pass it, there's a lot of money in there for rent and utilities, which I just showed you how to get. I specifically told viewers then, I'm going to train you in December 2020 how to get this money, because when it becomes law in early 2021, you are going to clean up. It is now a year later, and viewers continue to clean up. Those that have learned and listened and really pounced. Let's look at the big success stories of the viewers next to you in the live chat, the viewers next to you in the comments. These are the success stories of this channel. Rent, Elizabeth, 27,000, all the way to Nisi, 20,000, but Nisi has gotten multiple rounds since then. She's upwards of 30,000. She's in all the live chats nightly. Utilities, look at those numbers. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 thereafter. Snap, wow, look at these numbers. And Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a month over 10 years. It's $250,000. That will be the true legacy of this channel. Viewers walking away with massive checks for Snap every month because they found this channel. Look at the combo items that viewers have gotten for third stimulus. Look at these massive numbers. And here's Mark. He was at 32,000. Then he went to 50,000. Then he went to 100,000. Then he got check B a few days ago. He went to 166. And here's Lorraine, 105. She's now at 120. So how do you get these big checks? Get your pen and paper ready because we're going to go over how to get these big checks. These are check C. How did this become an MSC? It became an MSC when viewers in recent days started not getting 3 to 5 months of rent. They started getting 12 months. 12 months of utilities. And how much? $2,000 a month on average. Suddenly, they went from an average of $45,000 to now getting more money with a $2,000 over 12 months checks. So how do you get check C? Let's go over the details. This is different than A and B, which involves using a link on a website. Check C is no link. Check C is no website. Check C doesn't even need a computer. Check C doesn't even need a modern phone. All it needs is an old rotary phone and your mouth and your ability to make a phone call, and let's go over the big money starting right now. The money starts with you making phone calls. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority, your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. Keywords you say are those. You don't say MSC, you don't say stimulus check. Then reach out to all the 6 places, city, county, state, and then reach out to the nonprofits because they pick up other sums of money. Open that membership newsletter because guess what? You'll have upwards of 15 places to reach out to if you're a member. Then rely on those nonprofits because they pay for money in the states that may have difficulty getting you the money. Get those big sums of money tonight because you deserve it. Don't wait. Again, the average view of this channel has gotten $45,000. You deserve these big sums of money. Why would you wait to get them? You deserve them. Get it right tonight and pounce. Become a member. Start by becoming a member right now. Go into the video description at the top of the video and become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Go to the front of this channel and you will see a bell. Subscribe. Then on that bell, hit it and make sure it's set to all notifications. At 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, you'll get an alert from YouTube, however you receive your alerts, either by email or by text on your phone or alert on your phone, that says new LALATE post at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Right under it, it will have text. The text will say the LALATE newsletter for today's date. You click it, and then it sends you back to YouTube to read the complete newsletter, and you're ready to rock and roll. It's that simple. Remember, become a member, hit the subscribe, and make sure all alerts are turned on. And there you go. We'll have more about these A check, B check, and C check in just a second. But let's turn to what's going on with the White House. The White House is now pivoting, as new analysts now say, that the administration understands he needs to refocus on the economy as we go into the midterm elections. And that involves doing a lot of stuff. Suddenly, Joe Biden is doing a lot of stuff. And the case of student loan debt forgiveness, nothing more evident. After, over a year where I said, where is this for student loan? Where is that for student loan? Suddenly, the White House has done literally something almost every 8 hours on student loans for over a week. Let's take it back a notch. 6 months ago, the President of the United States forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, then for individuals who went to work in the nonprofit sector, and then people who went to work in the public sector. Then came the major changes, the executive orders by Joe Biden in the last few days. First, he said if you have existing debts, don't have to pay them back until September. We're extending the moratorium. Number 2, if the debts are in default, I'm going to put them into good standing. You'll no longer be in poor standing. Wow. Then he said the biggie, which was that if your student loan debts were caused by fraud committed by your university or your lender, the U.S. government will forgive the debts. Huge. And that was just going into last night's recording. Guess what's new tonight? 3.8 million other students, borrowers, will have their debts completely forgiven tonight. Now, this is where things get a little bit confusing. I'm no expert when it comes to loans, but I got to tell you this. One of the articles that was released just minutes ago said the amount, 3.8 million, then said what caused this. Department of Education determined to change wording of existing lending policies. And that change in that wording was deliberate by the White House and also the Education Secretary to ensure that millions of lenders and student borrowers, their debts are forgiven. Those debts tonight are forgiven. What was the change of the wording? How were they forgiven? That's not particularly clear. So I'll feature that more tomorrow if I can find the details of that story. It just broke minutes ago. It's on top of the other executive actions that Joe Biden has done for that student loan debt in the last few days. Wow, major changes across the board. Now, let's turn to sixth stimulus. Sixth stimulus is the trifecta of Germany, France, and the United States to battle recession by raising deficit spending in respective countries because their citizens cannot afford the current economic status. Where are we tonight? Where are we tonight is that we don't have a clear messaging coming out of Germany. Let's recap. Week one of the invasion of Ukraine by Germany, your Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, reached out to the partner allies, France and Germany, said, get off of those Russian products. Germany said no. Then the White House pushed again. France said yes, and Germany's chancellor said yes. Then a week ago, Germany's chancellor changed his mind again, said no. Boy. Then the French president, Macron, thought he had an easy re-election. He lost. Now he did not win. Now he's into a runoff later this month. What does this mean for sixth stimulus? It's still going to happen, but perhaps not with that trifecta of Germany and France. Now, Deutsche Bank, which is a major German bank, says that Germany must do a stimulus package or they're sending their economies into recession. What does sixth stimulus do? The sixth stimulus concept is very simple. You got to send money to your citizens, otherwise they cannot afford the price of gasoline, they cannot afford the price of wheat, and if you keep those levels the way they are, they go into recession. This is not something new. I've been making this recording about the sixth stimulus and this recessionary pressure for 3 months now. And where are we tonight? Actually worse. Yeah, the price of wheat when I first made that recording 3 months ago was at a 10-year high. It surged up week one of the Vladimir Putin invasion of Ukraine. Why? Supply chain disruption. Because the wheat in Ukraine supplies about 80% of the wheat in some of the neighboring countries like Egypt. That supply chain disruption is still there, so it's not solved. It's actually worse. Yeah, tonight's actually worse. If you watch the members of newsletter yesterday, the price of wheat and corn went up a lot in the last 3 days. That's on top of where it went up before in the first 2 months of the war in Ukraine. And that's, as Wall Street analysts say, it could go up 40% higher. Ouch. You cannot afford a $5 loaf of bread indefinitely after the month of May. And you're not alone, nor can the Western Allies citizens do that as well. So that's that situation. Then when we look at the price of oil and gasoline, it's been a debacle. And I don't know who in the White House was behind this, but I got to tell you, every time I make this recording and I get to the oil part, I'm just shaking my head. I think a kid could do this easier. Janet Yellen, who's your Secretary of Treasury, was tasked by Joe Biden the first week of October to look at whether a potential invasion of Ukraine by Vladimir Putin would disrupt oil and wheat. Well, I told you about that last year. I said this invasion, if it happens in 2021, because there was 100,000 Russian troops at the border, would be the major economic story of 2022. It happened. What did Janet Yellen find? Janet Yellen said, we can do things without affecting our economy. She was wrong. She was wrong. You can't embargo Russian oil if you don't have a solution back up. So that was week one. Then how long did it take for the White House to act? The White House did not ramp up production in West Texas, did not ramp up production in Texas, did not get oil from Venezuela or any of the other potential countries like OPEC. What did the White House do? The White House had a deal. The White House had the deal, which I was so excited about. 1.5 million barrels of gasoline to be released internationally, called the JCPOA, from Iran. Iran has been embargoed by the United States for over a decade because of its nuclear proliferation. The deal was to stop the nuclear proliferation and then release the embargo. Great. And then the deal fell apart. No one to this day, now 3 weeks later, has explained why the deal fell apart. I don't know why. I don't think they know why. And they're not even talking about that was a potential deal. That was a solution. So what has the White House done? 2 weeks ago, the White House announced that it's releasing 1.1 million barrels of gasoline per day for 6 months from the U.S. Strategic Reserves. That's gasoline the United States owns in storage. At the time that announcement was made by the White House, the price of gasoline, international Brent crude, dropped for about 2 days. But I said it was not going to work. I mean, this is simple math, folks. It's not enough gasoline. And guess where we are tonight? $112 a barrel Brent crude all throughout the last 24 hours. It's worse, the price of gasoline, than back before the announcement was made. Why? It's very simple. The way the gasoline or any of these commodities works is if you have a shortage of them, the price goes up. There's less gasoline, the price goes up. The way you solve the situation, you release enough gasoline internationally, not just in one country, to remove the shortage. What is the shortage tonight? 3 million barrels of gasoline per day missing because of Vladimir Putin. What was the shortage a month ago? 3 million barrels. How much did the White House release? 1 million. Well, that's only a third. Why does that work? It doesn't work. What did the partner allies do? They released 500,000 barrels. That's 1.5 million barrels. Compared to Vladimir Putin's 3 million barrels, who thought that would work? It doesn't make sense. Every time I make this recording, I don't understand it myself why no one in the White House understood this. And no one in the Western allies understand this as well. Go to someone like Venezuela, get a lot of gasoline released. Now, the problem at issue is that we're less than half a month away. You've heard this recording on this channel since March. I said the price of gasoline domestically stays where it is. At the month of May, we're going to 2 years of recession. It is. It hasn't gone down, the price of gasoline. It's actually worse. I told you the price of wheat does not go down, and by the month of May, we're going into recession. It hasn't gone down. It's actually gotten worse. So that means we're having 2 years of recession. One of the major banks saying as well, Deutsche Bank is co-signing what I said. Deutsche Bank is saying 2 years of recession, 2023 and 2024. I'm saying at tonight's recording that we're already in recession for 2 industries right now for 2022. How will we know we're in recession is when the gross national product of the U.S. economy goes to zero or close to zero. Gross national product is the GDP, how much the economy is growing. And when it's negative, it means you're in recession. Tonight, it's dropping from 7.1% projections to 6.9%, and also tracking at 4% later this year. I think it's falling dramatically. And this is as China is really the big shocker tonight. I got to tell you, in the last 24 hours, you saw the comments about the mask mandate and the airlines all over social media, all over TV. All I can say is, folks, I don't want to talk about masks or not masks. I want to talk about the situation in China with that Omicron subvariant. It's very, very economically serious. I'm not talking about the medical issue. I'm talking about the economics issue. Why? We have a lot of our products we make in China. And then we have a lot of China products we buy from China. We can't get them anymore. Why not? Well, at the moment, they're on lockdown. Shanghai, which is a city that has a population the size of Texas or Florida, is on lockdown. They can't make our products. They can't ship our products. They can't ship their products. They can't buy our products. It's a major problem. And when that economy takes a hit, its GDP, China's GDP takes a hit. Guess what? Our inflation goes higher. If this sounds really strange, it should. As Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan Chase, said this week, we've never really seen anything like this. We had that comment from someone else last week. Someone called it a recession. Normally, in the case of recession, you don't have inflation. You have prices dropping dramatically, you have consumer demand dropping dramatically, and you just have things just contracting. At the moment the inflation is getting worse, the consumer sentiment is dropping, the demand is slowing, but not that quickly. And then we have certain industries that are acting much worse than others. What does that mean? It means recession. It's just a different type of recession. Where are we tonight? Housing industry is clearly in recession, in my opinion. Why? Housing starts, number of homes sold with buyers is down 4 consecutive months. Second, mortgage rate is the highest level of a generation, 5%. No one can afford a home. Number 3, the price to repair the home, the price to build the home, out of control for both the products, the goods like the lumber, and the supply and the labor. Supply chain disruption really bad for that. Supply chain disruption is really killing the auto industry because they're seeing drop in demand because everyone bought a car in 2021 and now no one needs to buy another car in 2022. So the demand is down. Then they can't get enough cars made because component parts are missing because of supply chain disruption. So the problem with the auto is that in my opinion, it's in recession as well. I believe that all the rest of the industries will be in recession by 2022 and then to 2023. So what about you? What about your money? And what about Joe Biden? What about Jay Powell? What about this U.S. economy? Let's go over my analysis tonight. You know, it seems eerily similar tonight, April 19, 2022, to December 2020. We're sitting around in December 2020. We're looking and thinking about second stimulus. Nancy Pelosi, Steve Mnuchin. Are they going to get it done? When's the check going to come? What about the other provisions? There was that $50,000 grant that was in there. There was 2 other grants that were $10,000 in there. There's a lot of money in that second stimulus. It was the HEROES Act. It was a lot of money. We were very excited for it. And we were just sort of twiddling our thumbs thinking, when? And then you needed money. It was the holidays. I said, I'm going to find you money. I found it for you. I said, let me teach you how you get this money. Not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. And we had countless viewers, thousands and thousands of viewers who got that money. It saved their livelihood. As one viewer, Tyrone, boy, how do I remember that name? Tyrone. He was in Boston. Tough place in December 2020. People didn't think there was any money for rent. He found it. He got rent for December, January, February, March. In December 2020, a tough time. When people said there was no money, by early January, I was on air. And that was a different type of live broadcast at the time where I could see the comments. And sometimes people say, there's no money in Michigan. I said, I just got 10 people money in Michigan today. There was money everywhere. And you had to make a little bit of effort to find it. I said, pounds to get the money. Tonight, the situation is easier, but some people are making it harder for themselves. Hence the introduction. December 2020, there was so little money. And yet we got it. And we really created enormous financial freedom. It was hard to get in December 2020, and there wasn't a lot of the money. Tonight, there's a lot of money, and it's easy to get. And yet people want it easier. Folks, wake up. Wake up. You got to stop that nonsense. You really do. You got to stop the nonsense. In December 2020, when we're struggling in the middle of the pandemic, we're trying to find any money left and right. And I say, here it is. Let's go get it. This is where you find it. There's not going to be a lot of it. Get some of it. Tonight, we got massive sums of money that are available, and people are complaining that they don't want to use their telephone. Folks, you just don't want to pounce. You want to have everything handed to you on a platter. That's not how this U.S. economy works. That's not how this society works. The first stimulus package was always about big applications. PUA, UI, PPP, EIDL. You always had to apply. You had to pick up the phone and ask for the money. No one knows to send you $6,500. No one knows to send you $6,500. No one knows to send you $15,000, $80,000 unless you ask for it. No one knows to send you these massive MSC checks unless you ask for it. They're happy to send you $200, $100, $50, but no one knows to send you massive amounts of money unless you get it. Then let's focus on you and me. You and me, what is the dynamic? The dynamic is LALATE. Can you find us money? Can you find us money? I'll search. I'll look. I find it. Massive sums of money. In these 2 stimulus checks for 4 stimulus, now law. Made law for you to get. Then, MSC checks. I didn't even find that. You made that. The viewership of the channel, you made it. I was telling people to get 3 or 4 months of rent under the latest round in January 2022. And people said, 3 months? No, let me just get 12 months. Let me get 2 years. I had countless viewers. No, I was going to say one. I've got countless viewers who have listened to the videos and have found monies bigger than I can even record. Some of them are not even members. 3 years of MSC checks. I used to feature the graphic. I can bring it back if you want to. These are people who pounce. These are people who pick up the phone and call. And the time and place in which you spend your fingers in the live chat saying, why does Joe do this? You could have spent your fingers on pouncing and getting checks. Time allocation is so important in an economy like this, where I got to tell you, what Jamie Dimon said today and another analyst said today is very interesting. They're talking about consumer sentiments. Consumer sentiments right now has some people saying, maybe the economy is getting really bad. Other people are saying maybe the economy is really good. And he says, I think the consumer sentiments are a little bit too far out. maybe some people a little bit too dark about the economy, and then some people a little bit too happy about the economy. What I got to tell you is I think that anyone that passes up checks is really what Jamie Dimon and that type of mindset is referring to. People just sort of think that everything is the way they want it, is not the way that it often is. You can say what you want about how they should or could or would, but you know what this brings me back to as a memory as this channel approaches its 2-year anniversary? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me so clearly of that one item. The non-filer filing. Do you remember that non-filer filing? The non-filer filing was really one of the first tough love moments of this channel as it approaches 2-year anniversary. People who had gotten, people who were waiting for a first stimulus check, who had never filed tax returns, had been given the option by the federal government to use an online website to put in their name and their address as a non-filer to give a non-filer filing. To say, hey, I'm here, this is my name, this is my address, send me a stimulus check, the first stimulus check, without me having to file a tax return. I never did. I want to make sure you know where I am. People loved it for obvious reasons. When the $600 second stimulus check was added to the CR because of my making history of adding to the CR in December 2020, people in record numbers in December 2020 said, I want to do that non-filer filing again. I said, you can't. You got to file a tax return now. You got to file a tax return to ask for that second stimulus check. I can't tell you how many videos I had to make where people literally wanted to continue to repeat, I want to do the non-filer filing. I said, you can't do it anymore. It doesn't exist. They took down the website for it, but people still wanted to do it. Third stimulus came out in early January 2021, $1,400 stimulus check. People still want to do the non-filer filing. Then, when the $3,600 CTC check for the young children came out, I told you there was a deadline of early May where you had to file the tax return to get it. You had to file tax returns so they know you have children. The example I made at the time is that you had twins. They didn't know you had any twins, and suddenly you get no checks. You should be getting 2 checks. I said, get that tax return file. That was another tough love. The tough love tonight is that if you don't file that tax return, you're not getting that second stimulus check. You don't file tax return, you're not getting that third stimulus check. If you don't file that tax return, you're not getting that CTC check back in 2021. Tonight, if you don't make the effort to do what's called upon you, you're not getting anything. And you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it, but I gotta tell you, it's not the first time on this channel where I said, you don't do it, you don't get money. And people want to make it sound like it's the first time. It's absolutely untrue. I can give countless examples over the last year where if you wanted unemployment assistance, you had to do something. You wanted an EIDL, you had to do something. You wanted a PUA, you had to do something. You wanted PPP, you had to do something. You wanted a second stimulus check, you had to file tax return. You wanted a third stimulus check, you had to file the tax return. You wanted to, examples keep on going on and on. And for anyone who says, I don't have to do anything, we know you're a donut guy. We know you're a donut girl. I used to have the graphic on this channel, and I stopped showing it because it's sort of, repetitive. But some people want to talk their talk into existence. Sort of like J. Powell talking inflation into existence. Can we talk down inflation by just saying we're talking it down? No, you can't, J. Powell. Can you talk stimulus into its existence by telling it to be done a different way? No, you can't. Do I believe that the Build Back Better Act will become law? Yes. Do I believe it's going to become law quickly? Yes. Do I believe that the Build Back Better Act has lots of checks in there? Yes. Do I believe that you do nothing to get those checks? Absolutely not. Paid leave, home repairs, nutrition, new car, Pell's grant, seniors checks, dental, vision, hearing. You just don't sit back and put your feet up and say, yeah, tell me when it's in the mailbox. It doesn't work that way. They don't know to do it. They need to know you're around. It's not like there's a lot of effort here, folks. Let's be frank. You can do this with an old telephone. You can do this with your mouth. You can do this with your pen. You can do this with your paper. Anyone who jumps into a live chat and says, you know what, millions of Americans don't qualify for these checks A, B, and C because they don't own computers. You have to use a computer to get A, B, and C. You don't know how to use a cell phone in 2022. You don't have a neighbor who knows how to use a cell phone in 2022. You don't know how to open up a website in 2022. You don't have a neighbor that knows how to do it. You don't have a friend at the grocery store that doesn't know how to do it. The answer is you do. The answer is you do. As one viewer who's very kind on this channel, I won't say her name, but she recently had a horrible episode where she had invited someone from one of the social media platforms over to her home, and that person stole her identification card. Yeah, you know the person. And the victim. And what did she do? She needed help getting one of the IDs back. She doesn't drive, so what did she do? She found someone at the supermarket to give her a drive to the local government agency to get the ID issued quicker. She figured it out. She found someone in the supermarket. Can you give me a drive there? She didn't sit home and say, I don't drive, and millions of Americans don't drive, and hence that I'm never going to get my ID because millions of Americans don't drive and never will drive. That's an easy statement to say. She found a solution. The solution is a lot better. She's getting her ID, and she's a Purple Hawk. She's a Purple member. That's the true spirit of this channel. As this channel approaches 2-year anniversary, I'm so excited for you. Over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of fun, and we're going to have more fun as we approach our anniversary on the 25th. Coming up tonight is Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock, Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock, Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock, Stream Seamless at 7, and then Evening Sunset at 9 o'clock. Throughout the night, throughout the day, we have so much happening. Tomorrow will be a big day. Stay with me because a lot of economic news coming out tomorrow. But for the shores of Santa Monica, California, we're reminded to you, make sure you become a member. Don't play games with it. Become a member right tonight because you deserve these incredible checks. You deserve every penny that's available. And when a new check becomes law, I feature it for the members. Become a member and stay in good member standing. You deserve all these incredible checks. And when they become law, I find them. When they become law, I show you how to get them. And when they become law, you get them. From my home to your home, from my family to your home, from Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.